very early on. This is, okay, it shouldn't be lost on people that at the very moment that you have an open revolt against the Chinese Communist Party, because people do not understand that Tiananmen is much bigger than Tiananmen Square. You had a country in a moment, right, around that lead up into the late May and early June, that was in open revolt against a dictatorial system that had been imposed upon that in every major city. Now, Beijing, and right there by the Forbidden City, I mean, that is sacred ground for the CCP because they're an imperial dynasty. And what you can have is the peasants overthrown right there. When the Goddess of Liberty went up, which was one of the strongest symbols in world history, that we are united to the American Revolution, we're united kind of the French Revolution, we are united in this quest for freedom and dignity and liberty, right? At that very moment, Deng and these guys, you know, the kind of the hardliners took over and go, okay, we've had it. This is not good. This is where the world gets a system and they're going to start asking questions. This is going to be put down, and we don't care how many people we kill. In fact, if we got to kill them on global TV, we're going to kill them on global TV, but that's getting killed. We're killing that now. Where was the outrage from the West? There was no outrage. In fact, it was the exact opposite. Bush 41, who had been ambassador to China and been head of the CIA, just saying, right? What did he do? He sent General Scowcroft in 30 days to Beijing to basically tell Deng Xiaoping and these guys, you got to tone it down, right? Obviously, this thing's not working. We'll help you kind of figure this out, but you got to clean it up, and we can't have any more tanks. And what we're going to do is get you in the World Trade Organization and get you in the most favored nation. And we're going to make you from a backward agricultural developing nation. We're going to allow you to become a manufacturing power because we are going to work in conjunction and ship all the jobs over here. And we're going to be partners. And that's what happened. And this is what happened in broad daylight. The cynicism of it. So the global elites don't have credulity. They had willful blindness. They knew exactly what was going on. They were party to it. And here's the cruelest thing, is what they sold the American people on. The reason to accept this, because the American people have always had this bond with the Chinese people back from the 17th and 18th century, right? I remember as a kid in Catholic school, you know, giving to the orphanages in China, right, to help the young Chinese. Always had a strong bond with the American people. As a young kid in Virginia, I always wanted to go to China from the very early ages, right? Kind of the mystery of China and the beauty of China and how, you know, how magnificent it was. What you see is they took the most cynical way to sell it. They go, listen, if we give them all this stuff on economics, they'll become more liberal in politics. Right? They'll become, and it's the exact opposite. It was a bald-faced lie. In fact, you could argue 30 years after that, our elites really looked around and said, hey, their system, we kind of like their system. State capitalism with authoritarian control and kind of elite merger of regulatory apparatus. And that's what the United States had come under Biden. That's what the Trump revolution is, a rejection of that.
But